Hey, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? Inter Miami season's right there. We're about to start Inter Miami season. Curious how everybody's feeling. We're going to get into that, a lot of that today. Just how are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you hopeful? Are you fearful? Have the issues been resolved? What are your concerns? So we'll get into all that. We've seen some preseason games and all that. But as always, I don't do this by myself. And also, we have a guest today, by the way. Welcome in everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. How you doing, Ed?
Peter Brown, how you doing, man? Man, I'm really excited because it's gonna start. The season's gonna start. I wasn't able to go to they had the jersey unveiling
Yeah.
thing. My wife got to go with my daughter, so
Oh,
that
she
was
went?
cool. Yeah, she.
Did your wife film a
They
video? Did you put her to work?
they didn't film anything.
Come
I told them to
on.
do it too,
Come on. Put
but
them to
yeah,
work.
she wants money, man. You know how it goes.
We
She's
can't
a big.
afford her, right? We can't afford
Yeah,
her.
yeah, and I was like, at least give me a shirt or something, but no, nothing.
Hey, man, those
Not a
shirts are
darn thing.
expensive.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna go buy a shirt, we got a place. And let's talk about that. So we're gonna welcome in our guest in just a minute. Everybody loves this person. If you're on Twitter and you're following Inter Miami, you know who Alex is, and we're gonna talk to her in just a minute. But before we get too far, let's tell everybody where they should be going to buy a shirt, and that is Caneswear, because Caneswear has the messiest wall in all of South Florida. Messier than even at the stadium. I mean, they've got so much messy merch. And hey, they've got the new jerseys in. In years past, they've gotten screwed by Adidas, and it took forever to get the new jerseys. This year, they got them bright and early. So go support local business and get your Euphoria kit, or your I don't remember what the other one's called, the black and gray one. You get that, Fortitude or something, right? So
Yeah.
get that one if you want. All kinds of great hats and cups and merch, all kinds of great stuff. Always having great sales going on at Caneswear. So go to caneswear.com or go to Davie. It's on 595. It's on University, just south of 595. So go check them out. And
Peter Brown, the goat of all realtors, and look at that. You're starting all over. Well, wait, I was going to start
that's
with
where
that.
we
Never
left.
mind.
Well, that's where we
There we
left. So
Oh, okay, it's all good. But the goat of all realtors, Mia Rodrigues, guys, she was showing this $1 million house
I
today. I
saw
was
that.
checking it out. Yeah, dude, she's making that money. But yeah, if you guys want to invest in South Florida, the person to do it with is Mia Rodrigues. She speaks 3 languages. You can't go wrong. And if you want to be famous, Peter Brown, you could be on her TV show, The American Dream, and there you go. You could see where it appears, and you could be on there if you want to sell or, buy a house. She'll make you famous, and there's Mia right there.
And she's in the
Yeah,
chat. So go buy her house from Mia Rodriguez.
there, do it.
All right. And before we get to Alex, let's say a quick thank you to those of you that are already here. And if you're not here yet, or if you are and you're just watching, say hi, get active in the chat. We'll let you guys drive the show to some extent. Obviously, we have some thoughts and things we want to talk about, but we'll start off with One World, One Goal, was in the chat. It's apparently some sad news for her. I don't know exactly what this is, but she'll catch up with us next week, it sounds like. Jose Velasquez is here. Ace Lionel already with bench cello. Kata is here. We haven't seen Kata in a little bit, so good to see him back. The troublemaker Esteban Dito is here.
There he is.
Alfredo Aguilar.
Costa Rica.
And from Atlanta, a new Weissman is here. I sent him a message. I was watching, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago. I was watching a Premier League game on Peacock. It was like Chelsea versus Man City or something a couple weeks ago. And when they're going to commercial, they're showing like some shots from like fan shots from maybe their Premier League convention or whatever. I know they had one in Atlanta one time. And a new Weissman was up there. He popped up on the screen of the national broadcast. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Also, Jay Vasquez is popping in, and Pablo Coppola is
Cool.
here.
Yeah.
All
Happy
right, I almost
Sunday.
said Copa. I almost screwed up pronouncing that name because I screw up everybody's name. But anyways, all right, let's not wait any longer. If you're following all the like beat writers and things like that for Inter Miami, one of the there's a few of them out there that are really good follows. Franco Panizo is a good friend of ours, but Alex Winley is also another really good follow. She actually, what's cool about if you're not following her on Twitter, you need to. But some of the cool stuff, she really analyzes these new players that are prospects and things like that, more so than some other people. So she's really good at digging up stuff and all that. So you need to follow Alex, and we are going to talk to her tonight. How you doing, Alex?
Yeah.
Hi guys, what's going on? I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, delayed, but since
Our live studio audience.
yeah, our live studio audience. Yeah. Also, if you want to, my button's not working. There he goes. If you want to leave a voicemail, call 786-474-4435. If you want to ask Alex a question, obviously jump in the chat or leave a voicemail. Anu is commenting, I think, on my comment, saying that I was actually watching the Chelsea match while in Kenya. Also, I'm always on the Premier League mornings. Oh, that's why he wasn't impressed when I said, hey, I saw a picture of you. I was maybe more excited about seeing a picture of a new Weissman than he was. He's like, been there, done that. Do it all the time.
It happens all the time, apparently.
Yeah, lucky you.
But Alex, oh man, there's so much to talk about, especially with Inter Miami. They're going to start playing next week. And you, like Peter says, you break down a lot of these players. Can you tell us a little bit about all your findings about these players that are coming in? Some of them haven't played yet, Peter.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty broad question, Alex. Let's narrow it down a little bit. As far as new players that have not come in, but is rumored again, is that kid Baltazar Rodrigues, I think is his last name. He's popped up on the. What do you know about him, and do you think there's any truth to this rumor?
Yeah, I think there are a couple reports from South America stating that Inter Miami are back in for him. It may be a loan with an option to buy. So,
Right.
Rodrigues. Oops, excuse me, my phone. Rodrigues. He's a kind of a yes, a central midfielder, attacking midfielder.
Do we need that?
If you guys watched Segovia the other night, he was playing out on the wing, but he was tucking inside a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Rodrigues were to come to Inter Miami, he'll play that role similarly, maybe on the right hand side. Just making numbers up in the midfield while the fullbacks provide the width. I think Mascherano and Tata Martino are two different coaches, and so far we're seeing it. Even the formation's different, a 4-4-2 versus Tata's back five, or a 4-3-3. So it's going to look different. And Rodrigues, he's played under Mascherano. He's played alongside Redondo and Gonzalo Lujan with the Argentine U20 national team. So it's a lot of chemistry coming in. If we can get Rodrigues in there, you have three guys who played under Mascherano and knows what he wants out of his players. So, I think Rodrigues will be a really good addition. He's really crafty, has good vision. He's kind of a box-to-box midfielder, sort of like Segovia. So, but obviously different profiles, different height, physicality. So, if he were to come in, I think Miami will be getting a really good player that has a high ceiling, and it gives the squad extra depth in regards to all the tournaments that they're going to be playing this season.
Well, what did you think about Segovia since you mentioned him?
I thought he was really good. I know I saw
I
a
liked
couple
him.
of folks, kind of berating him, or not berating him, just kind of like not really rating him. But I thought he did really well. He combined well with Messi, Suarez. He's a youngster who is going to be willing to learn from Busquets and Messi and Alba, and he's the type of midfielder where Mascherano is going to want the guys who can play on the wing, that can tuck inside a lot to make up numbers, and Segovia is that perfect player. He's attacking, but he can also play as a deep lying playmaker next to Busquets too. So Miami have different options for him. Versatility. He's quite good at that. He can also play as a number 10 if Messi is out due to injury, knock on wood, or with the Argentine national team. He can slot into that number 10 spot and dictate there. So really versatile players that are in Miami's current squad. Right, and Gonzalo Lujan, who can play as a center back and right back. So lots of
All right,
versatility.
let's
depth,
talk.
and
Let's talk about Lujan. What did you think, Ed, about Lujan? I mean, he's been heavily criticized online.
Yeah, unfortunately, Peter, I saw it on and off because I was at work. So,
All right, so let's ask the pro then.
forget it.
Forget you, Alice. What did you think of Lujan? I didn't focus on him that much, so the defense didn't look that much better. So I was like, but
yeah,
he just got here.
Yeah, I thought he did fine. I think he's new. Like, this is his second game for Miami. The last game he played was he came on in the second half and got some minutes, and this was his first start. So I think you really need to give these guys time to settle. I remember when Diego Gomez came over from I think is still playing in Paraguay, and excuse me, people were dragging him from saying he's not good enough X Y Z. But a year later he was able to settle in and he became one of Miami's best players and got sold off to Europe. So you really just need to let these, young players settle in. Really, like Gonzalo Lujan's probably just not fully fit. He was cramping up at the end there. And he's gonna make mistakes when you're physically gone. You're mentally, it starts to slip a little bit. So he's only 23 and he's moving to a new country alone and playing with the best Argentine best player of all time in Messi. So he's gonna be a little bit nervous and. With time, it's just gonna, he'll get better and continue to grow and just settle into the squad. But as in terms of what he did well, he's very alert, aggressive. He's not the tallest, but he's aggressive, so that it makes up for maybe his lack of height. And I think look at guys like Noah Allen, who's not the tallest, but he's really good positionally.
He's figured it out though.
Yeah. I think Lujan will be similar to Allen in that sense. Where Allen's probably a little bit quicker. But, I think they're both going to be really positionally sound and physically, demanding.
But, we had Lujan playing in the center, and in reality, he might be the replacement for Cello. People complaining about Cello, he's good on the attack, but sometimes he makes some big mistakes and defense. And, the fact that Lujan is only, 5'8" or something like that, I think they said.
He's about 6 foot, yeah.
Is he 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I heard on the broadcast them saying he was 5'8". I'm like, that's short.
No, Allen's about 5. Yeah.
5'8". Okay. But Avilés is probably playing in that center spot right there, with maybe alongside Martinez. So you figure Lujan might get pushed over. What's that, Ed?
Falcone's on his way. I saw.
Oh yeah, that guy too. What do you think about him?
Oh my gosh, I think that's probably one of the better signings this offseason for Miami. I think, once he gets settled, I think he is a starter on the team. He's Uruguayan and you already have, Suarez who's, quite demanding, and I don't want to call him crazy, but, he's just a really aggressive player. So you get two Uruguayans who will, die for the badge essentially. It's going to be, good for the squad morale and team hype man, but he's also a really good player, really strong defender, quick, physical, leader. I think it's probably the best signing that they made, aside from Fafa Picault, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah. But more importantly, maybe, especially to Ed, he might have the best hair in the league. I mean,
I need to get the wig.
Yeah.
He's got some good hair. It'll be the best hair. Yeah, look and see. Ed's jealous. Can't grow that hair. We'll have to get wigs and kind of like back in the day with the Valderrama. We had Valderrama back in the day. Everybody had the blonde curly wigs. Everybody's gonna have to get these Falcone wigs. I still can't help but every time I say the name Falcone, I think of Falcone from Batman. The bad guys.
Oh my gosh,
the mafia guy from Batman.
It was such a good series.
I can't help but think that, but. I've seen this question pop up a couple times. I think it's Kata asking over and over again, but he wants to know. Ask her about Calendar's status. So we all know he was hurt on the U.S. national team, but a lot of people don't quite buy it and think his days may be numbered. Ustari, has made a claim to that starting spot right now. It seems like. What do you think?
Yeah, no,
What's the
Drake
deal?
was injured. It was an abductor injury, so it's like
But is it a
a
real injury? Is it like really
yeah,
that
yeah,
bad?
yeah. Moscow, yeah, yeah. I think that that's one of those injuries where, as a goalkeeper, you don't want to risk it too early because it'll make it worse. So, with Ustari and Rocco Rios Novo, they've shown that they're able to play well. So there's no reason really to rush Drake. Mascherano did even Mascherano did say that like the best player will win. So when Drake is fully fit, I'm sure they'll whoever's best in practice, he'll make the decision. But yeah, I don't think it's like they're phasing out Calendar. He's still a really good goalkeeper, or else the U.S. wouldn't have called him into the camp. And
Well,
yeah, let's see once he's fully fit. May the best keeper win, I guess.
yeah, well, Bruno says we need all three keepers. He's not going anywhere. I don't suspect he's going anywhere because the time that has sold him was already past. He had his best year, not last year, but the year before. That would have been the time if you wanted to get rid of him to sell him. Now his stock has dropped maybe. But the thing is, a little bit. And if he loses the starting spot, now I understand he's probably going to lose his starting spot for the first couple of games because he may not be game fit. That's fully understandable. But if he loses his starting spot to Ustari for a longer period of time, I mean, his U.S. national team, call-ups are definitely going to be impacted. Yeah, he's not going to get called up if he's sitting on the bench.
No, and I think yeah, I mean, but this year Miami's going to be playing a lot of tournaments,
Yeah.
So and Ustari is like 38 and he'll need a rest, and Rios Novo's still young, so that's where Drake comes in to play the more experienced games, in the Champions Cup and Leagues Cup, if you're going to rotate. So they're going to rotate, and all three guys will have different skill sets. So like, Rios Novo's really good on penalties, Ustari's really good at his feet, Calendar is really good at just quick shot stopping and getting down really quickly. So they all have different attributes that are good. And I think whatever game calls for XYZ, I think Mascherano will just switch them out. But as far as goalkeeper number one right now, for me, it's Ustari just because he's fit, more experienced. But as the season goes on, maybe that changes.
Oh man, Bruno's coming at him. Bruno's not a Calendar fan, by the way. Why not? All our American keepers are bench warmers. Yeah, but they're bench warmers for like Premier League teams and stuff like that, not an MLS team. If he can't start, he's not getting called up. I mean, because he's the third keeper in the U.S. national camp, right? So he's definitely not, I don't think he's getting a sniff. And I prefer. I mean, I've been a huge defender of Calendar for forever. I love Calendar. I think he's great. But Ustari definitely, he seemed maybe a little more vocal in the back. He seemed like he was communicating a little more if I was seeing it properly, because you only see so much on the TV. But he seemed like, like there was an issue with one of the players that kind of like came into his space and he gave him this look and had some words with him. I'm like, yeah, that's what you should be doing. Whereas I don't know if Calendar is as vocal, and that's been some of the criticism, thrown at Calendar.
Yeah, I think it was Cello who had that mistake.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I couldn't remember who it was, but I think it was Cello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, do you think that that Inter Miami has done the right, have contracted the right people, or do you think there's still something missing? I mean, a lot of people are talking about the defense. It's always defense, defense, defense. What are your thoughts?
I think the defense is set, with Noah Allen, Avilas, Falcone coming in, Lujan, Ian Frey's fit and healthy now. Even Ryan Saylor, who got a goal during preseason, I think David Martinez as well, starting. I think they have plenty of defender that they can rotate out, and I think that's fine. I think the biggest issue is a backup striker for Suarez. Honestly, it's not that I don't like Suarez. He is a starter, period, but, he's getting older. Miami are playing in multiple tournaments, and rests and rotation will be needed. So I think that's the only big issue. But during preseason, Mascherano was playing Fafa Picault there, Tadeo Ayande, Leo Alfonso. They were all getting minutes at central striker. I think Alfonso looks really good in that position. If I were to say my opinion, but yeah, I think a more I don't know, like a more complete number 9 would be a good Suarez rotational option. I think that's the only thing Miami's really missing. They got the midfield covered. They have defense covered, backup right back. The attack is good. Messi, you have the wingers coming in. I think the only thing is a backup striker would make this the squad a little bit more balanced and well rounded. But other than that, I think the recruiting this offseason was really good. Even with the losses of Rojas, Campana, and Gomez, they were able to, bring in guys that are really smart signings. And then you have, the young academy players and Santi Morales, Ruiz, Kramaski, who look like they're going to take the step up this year. They're all 19, 20 now, so they've been playing for the first team for a couple years. I think Santi, he's still an academy product, but he's 17 and he looked really good in preseason. I think, him signing a first team contract is sooner rather than later. So there's lots of, yeah. But other than that, my first point, yeah, a backup striker would probably be needed.
That's what we need.
And that makes you kind of hate that trade or sell for Campana a little bit more. I'm a huge fan of Campana. Put him on the back of my jersey. I like the Ecuadorian player better than the Ecuadorian co-host here. He didn't do it. I mean, he's come on. But
I
slacked in putting his own name on there. I gave way more love to the Ecuadorian star than you, and you should be ashamed of yourself. But
I actually got a Messi shirt this year. So.
He's not Ecuadorian. Now, we might be getting another Ecuadorian, I hear, but I want to see if you get his name on the back of your jersey. But the backup 9. I think I liked Afonso, what I've seen of him, and I'm hoping he gets the opportunity. Because Campana, it did make sense to get rid of him. He needs to be starting. He's going to have a really good year in New England. I think he's going to kind of make us wish we hadn't gotten rid of him. But when you got Suarez starting, it kind of makes, what are you going to do? But Afonso, I hopefully gets a chance to have that breakout. But we also mentioned Fafa, and I'm a huge Fafa fan because I think you might be too young, Alex, to remember these good old days. Maybe you were little going to the Fort Lauderdale Striker games, and Fafa was one of our star players for I think 2 seasons, maybe 1 or 2 seasons. And then he went off to I think St. Pauli or something like that, and then had a successful career in MLS. So it's great to see him come back home. Being the fact that, like I said, I watched him as just the beginning of a pro with the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. So I think that's who's going to be on the back of my jersey this year, Ed. But Fafa looked good in this. I mean, he may not be a starter all the time, but man, I'm a fan of Fafa. What did you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think it was a really good signing. It's telling he was the first signing. Yeah, first signing this offseason for Miami and Mascherano. The fact that they went after him is really telling. I know Fafa wanted to come home, but the fact that he was the first offseason signing is really good. And you got a local player back, and he's wearing the number 7 jersey, which is a big thing. You give that jersey to big time players, I guess, in global football. I would say. And yeah, he looked good in preseason. I wish he got some more minutes, but he's going to be really good for Miami, as a starter, as a rotational player. All the tournaments that they're playing, Fafa has experience. He's pacey. He's bilingual. Not even he speaks 5 different languages, so he can, communicate with the Barca 4 and the youngsters and
according
whatnot.
to Mr. Krabs, it's 6 languages,
which is crazy. Super intelligent guy. So yeah, I think it's a really good signing, and I'm really excited to see him finally gel with the team. So you see him score in MLS before, so I can't say enough good things about the signing, and he's one of the faces of the club now. He has a mural with
he's on the mural. I love the fact that they put him on there so quick. I was a bit surprised because look, he's not Argentinian, and so how did he find his way up there? I don't know. That's a weird one for me. I just don't. It doesn't seem to make sense, but I like it because he doesn't fit the mold of he speaks Spanish, but he's not Argentinian and or Uruguayan or one of those things. But I was super happy to see him on the mural, and yeah, they're making him a bit of the poster child. That's awesome. I mean, a local kid. Are you happy to see him back, Ed?
Oh, definitely, Peter. I mean, since we've seen him.
We used to go. You went to those games.
I sure did, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, seeing him back is great. I'm also happy that he's taking a big part on all these presentations. He went to the jersey unveiling So that's awesome that that they're doing that. He's definitely got connections with the city, with the whole South Florida. So I'm glad that they're doing that. And like you said, he speaks like so many languages. He can talk to anybody.
He can even talk to you, Ed.
Exactly. Hopefully he will.
I wonder if German is one of the languages, because when he was down here last, his head coach was Gunther Kronsteiner, who was well, he wasn't German actually. He was Austrian. Wasn't he? Austrian. Yes. That's close enough.
Close enough.
So.
And the accent sounds the same. So,
yeah. Oh, incoming Austrian hate mail, I guess. From
no, that's okay. We don't take mail. Yeah. Mr. Spider Pig, which interesting name, says Lewandowski is a 37 and he is the best striker in Spain. I don't know why you brought that up, other than Fafa's old too. But
I'd love to have Lewandowski over here.
Yeah, and Akata is saying he does speak German because of his time in St. Pauli, which that makes sense.
That's really cool.
Eric says it's the same language. Is Austrian and German the same? I doubt it. You think it's the same, Ed? You've been over to that part of the world.
Yeah, they speak German in Austria.
Oh, so, yeah. But I mean, do they speak Austrian? Is there actual Austrian language?
There is none because they speak German.
All right. I know you spent some time over in Germany and when you were in the military.
Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch, so I'm good. I'm going to speak to him when I see him, if I remember. I'll have a couple beers. I'll remember my German when I have a couple beers.
All right. So there's a report, and apparently Franco Panizo, everybody's friend Franco, made some report. I don't know where it's in my chat somewhere, but that Messi might not play tomorrow night, or it's Tuesday in Kansas City because it's going to be too cold. He doesn't like cold. It's a little bit too cold for Messi. That's the report. I don't buy it. I mean, you bring him in for the big money. That it's a big tournament. What are your thoughts? Do you think, Alex, we will see Messi playing in the snow, because it's likely to snow in Kansas?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, the weather is kind of quite cold to the point. I don't know. I think Kansas City, no disrespect to them, they're a great team. I think this is probably a team Miami can play without Messi. Heck, even Messi, Messi, Busquets, and Alba, and still do, a job to get a win. It is like so cold. I think it's gonna be like 6 degrees on Tuesday night.
-6.
I don't even know if that's like humanly comfortable to be out there. Honestly.
You run around, you'll be fine. Francisco, apparently it was on Marco's podcast earlier today on Miami Football, Total Football. He says that he said that Messi doesn't want to play, not that he's not playing. So he could play, but he just doesn't want to, according to that.
I wouldn't either with the cold.
I wouldn't want him to play.
You don't want him to, Ed?
No, because there's a chance he can get hurt, man. Because the ground's going to be hard as hell.
Sure.
I'm telling you, because I've been to Russia and it was like -25 or something.
Yeah.
And I was in Germany also. Playing on a field that's frozen hurts. I've done it before.
All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know where you hail from originally, Alex, but I'm a South Florida guy through and through my whole life. I've seen snow for maybe like 20 minutes once when I went on a business trip to Denver. So I am not well versed on the cold. So I will leave it to those that are more familiar. I don't know, but they do. It is one of those weird things where I love the fact I love watching a game when it snows. They roll out the orange ball. It's kind of fun. But yeah, having said all that, we have the second leg here in South Florida. I've already got tickets to that, so that's fun. And so even if we lose, we'll be all right. But Kansas City last year, where did they? I don't remember. Where did Kansas City finish last year? We're all just going to go Googling. Nobody paid attention to Kansas City down here. Nobody really cares. I just know that they've got the longtime coach. He's a legend over there. he was a player and then he's a coach.
In the East, the West. They finished 13th on 31 points.
Oh, so not good. Man, my internet's slow. How am I even able to do this broadcast? It's still searching. I'm having computer problems, folks. Yeah, the stream stopped there for a second. It's back. Okay. All right. I don't know. I have fast internet, but I'm having problems today, even from the minute I turned on the computer. So yeah,
might be the computer.
Yep, I might need a new computer, Ed. Anyways, a new Weissman is saying, as far as playing in the snow, Messi is cowardly for saying he allegedly doesn't want to play. Now that's coming from an Atlanta fan, so he's calling Messi a coward. But at the same time, I want him to play, but you do have to manage his minutes. You do have to, he's old and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to be careful. And like you said, Ed, I don't want him to bust his tailbone on the hard surface. So, but
Yeah, I think it's self-preservation. I'm sorry. I think it's like self-preservation, honestly. Like, you don't want Messi picking up another ankle injury and he's out for 3 months, like last year when he got that knock from the Copa America final and he was out and Miami was, they were able to win, but still, you want Messi on the field. So I don't know. Maybe I think he will play eventually. Messi loves winning. He likes being competitive. So I think he'll put on the long sleeves and just
there you go. Roll out the orange ball. But so the one thing from this, comparing this preseason tour to the last preseason tour, I feel like this team seems to be, even though there are so many new elements, there are so many new players this year, just like there was last year. I feel like they're going into this season in a better place than they were last year. I feel more like they seem to be gelling more, even though they didn't go and win every game. They're ties and things like that, and had to go to shootouts and all that kind of stuff. Francisco says, Messi is not old. He's a seasoned veteran.
Yeah. True. It's true.
So am I. I am a seasoned veteran, Ed. Don't call me old.
And I'm definitely a veteran.
Well, I'm just seasoned. When
True.
Over 50, closer to 60, you might be seasoned.
Yeah. Talking about 60s, I want to say happy birthday to Julio Caballero, who's probably not listening to us. But I just want to say happy birthday to him, the founder of one of the reasons why we have soccer in South Florida is that old guy right there.
Yeah, he turned 70 today, right? That's what I heard.
Like that.
That's what I heard. He turned 70.
Old. Yeah. I didn't even say happy birthday to him. I just said old. That's all I said.
Old man. Anyways, Bruno says he's a 35-year-old veteran. I was born this way. Okay. Everybody likes the seasoned Julio. There you go. So anyways, Alex, how do you feel about the team as a whole going into this season compared to, say, last year?
Well, last year they had that, the cross continent
crazy tour.
Yeah, the road trip that Farias got injured, and it was just a lot of games that didn't help Miami gel much. There were a lot of 6-0 losses, and it wasn't great. But I think this tour was more manageable. They were home a lot. They stayed within the Americas. They went undefeated technically, and I know there were draws and penalties, but they stayed undefeated during preseason. They got one really huge 5-0. Win in I think it was Honduras or Panama. They were able to get goals under the belt. There are a couple of clean sheets. I think it's more. I think it's a lot more calm. I think Mascherano is a realist. He's very pragmatic, down to earth. He knows what he has to do, and he's not gonna come in with delusions of grandeur or try to set expectations. Like he knows what he has to do, and he's gonna do it, and he knows what system he wants to play, and he's gonna get the players to do it. And so far, we're seeing that, Segovia, Lujan, Falcon, you see where each of these guys fit in. And if anything, there's the players who are kind of in limbo were guys that Tata brought in, guys like Julian Gressel, who, he was a big-time player last season. He was a starter in the first half of 2024. And, as 2024 went on, Tata didn't use him for some reason. And now under Mascherano, he's relegated to coming in the last like 10 minutes of games and playing as a right back, which is, I think that's a disservice to his talent. I think he should play further upfield, but that's how does he fit in? But I mean, I think we mentioned this earlier with Gomez Campana, Rojas gone. I think they're better. Like they're younger players who, as a collective, will be better than having two or three really good players like Campana, who were sitting on the bench, Segovia, Lujan, all these new guys. I think what they're going to bring as collective is probably better than paying Campana a lot of money to sit on the bench. Letting him go freed up a lot of money for Miami to be able to bring in these new players. So I know Campana, the loss hurts, but the amount of GAM that they got for him and a couple other players, they freed up a lot of money, and that's how they were able to get all these new guys in. And Baltazar Rodrigues, who may come in still, and a couple other, maybe just a striker. You guys mentioned the young Ecuadorian striker, Alan Obanda. I think he plays for Barcelona in Ecuador, so he may come in. There are a couple of rumors there, but I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I think this the squad is younger with the talent they brought in, and I think they'll just be more pragmatic and simple and I guess a little bit more down to earth than the flashiness we had a little bit last season.
I'm okay with that. I am curious to see how Mascherano does. He's never coached at this level before. He's never managed a professional club. So, I'm never a fan of that. We kind of had that with Neville. When he came in, he had never head coached at that level either. He had done women's leagues and all this, and Mascherano's done the U20s or U23s, all the U's. And so I am curious to see, it's I don't know how much he has to do. He sets the formation and all that, makes the right substitutions. I mean, game day management to some extent, but a lot of this is it's Messi's team. It's Messi feels like it's Messi making the calls, more so than any one coach. But it will be interesting to see how Mascherano does through the year, because the expectations obviously are extremely high for any coach that comes into Inter Miami. So really, I am curious to see how he does. I do like the more pragmatic approach and things like that. I don't need the flashiness. I mean, you could bore a team to death, and as long as you win the cup, I don't care.
Right.
One of the things I want to ask you, Alex, is one of the guys is a news asking about Paul Pogba. I know he's been training with Miami, and then I saw something earlier today that Charlotte was looking at him. Have you heard of where he's going, and how come didn't Miami pick him up? Maybe too much money?
Yeah, I think Pogba would be like DP status for Miami, and right now they don't have that, honestly. There are, I don't know if it's not been confirmed, but there have been some whispers, like Tom Bogart from Give Me Sport mentioned that, Jordi Alba was essentially getting paid by Barcelona from when he left the team, so he could be on that Miami, like a DP contract for Miami, just because he's not getting paid for Barcelona anymore, and Miami had to pay him, and that's how they're able to re-sign him. He may be that third DP, so right now Miami is on Busquets, Messi, Alba, and the three U22 players. Technically, right now, it's Kramaschke, Redondo, and Avilas. With Kramaschke, they could probably still buy him down with the GAM, but regarding Pogba,
You said we currently have 3 U22s?
Like it's a whispering thing. It's not me reporting anything. Tom Bogart mentioned that the reason why Miami could, they were able to re-sign Jordi Alba was because they needed to, Barcelona stopped paying him from when he was, and the
I
DP
got that part.
One of the reasons why, but I think it's the how there's the U22
initiative.
The 2 senior DPs and the 4 U22 players with Farias gone, the 3 U22 players according to the league site where you pick your designation is Kramaschke, Redondo, and Avila. So right now it could be Alba, Busquets, Messi as the senior DPs, and the 3 youngsters at the U22 guys. But none of that is confirmed. No one has said anything.
I was sure. Yeah, I was sure that some of these new signings would end up falling into that category.
Yeah.
But and surprised that Kramaschke's falling into that, because I thought Kramaschke might be one of the Adidas, what do they call it? Adidas players.
What was it called? Generation Adidas.
Generation
There you
Adidas. I
go.
wanted to call. They
I think
they
it's
used to have the Nike name for it years and years ago.
when they get drafted, they get that designation
That's the
from
draft
SGK.
picks. It has nothing
From
to
the
do with
academy.
being a
Yeah, no.
academy product.
Yeah, no. But
Okay.
yeah, Kamashki got a new contract late in 2024, I believe. So I think
Okay.
that he got a contract extension. So that's probably why he's a U22 player. But like I said, they
Okay.
could
All right.
MLS
No.
rules. I don't know. They could buy him down, and I don't think that's really that big of a deal. But yeah, someone mentioned something about I forgot what was the topic we were on before we got into the U22
Pogba.
stuff.
Pogba.
Yes, Pogba. There were a couple of rumors that he was going to Marseille in France. He's still not announced anything. Miami can't sign him. I don't know if Charlotte can. I don't know their DP situation. They were able to get Wilfred Zaha on like a loan for like 2 years. So if they're able to do it, yeah, go for it. Like Chicago were in for Neymar for a bit. I think the more stars they can get into the league, I think it's good for the league. Scrolling through Twitter right now, Neymar just scored a penalty for Santos. So I don't know if Miami want Neymar in the summer. I'm sure they'll find a way to make it happen. But as far as Pogba to Charlotte, I don't know anything about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, he has been linked to Miami, obviously, because he's been training, hanging out with Busquets, in Miami. But right now, no, like he's not.
You mentioned the N word there, the Neymar.
Yeah,
The different word.
yeah.
As
During
I
Black
said, as that
History
came
Month,
out of
too.
my mouth, I said that sounds wrong.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
But it sounded wrong. Sorry for that.
No, you're good.
But the Neymar word,
Yes.
being in a Brazilian household, he's a popular player here. But so you think potentially that there's still a possibility that he could, he did make a highlight reel on Twitter. I mean, that went around. That's showing that he still had a little bit. We know that he signed a 6-month deal or something like that. But so you think there's still some interest?
Honestly, you just need to listen to Jorge Mas speak, and they're always after some big time player. And
Yeah.
if Miami, if they have the slot open, of course they're gonna try to go after it. But the only reason why they couldn't do it this winter is because they don't have any spots available. So Mascaron even said as much. Miami just financially couldn't do it. So that's one of the main reasons. So yeah, I don't know. In the summer, anything can change. People can get sold on. I don't know, maybe freeze up. I don't know. Like it's just last summer things happen. David Martinez came in and Nico Frede, and I don't know. Things are always changing, so let's see what happens. But yeah, Miami's always after that whale, kind of similar to Pat Riley and the Heat. But after the Jimmy Butler thing, I don't know. But yeah, they're always after the big time players. So maybe let's see how that happens.
Apparently he scored today, according to Kata.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. So we talked a little bit about this before the show. In the chat, everybody, a lot of people probably already follow you, so they already know that you're also writing for New York. And so you're covering some of the New York teams. You've got an internship for a company in New York, so you're doing some great work there. And we're playing New York over the weekend. So has any of your New York work included New York City FC? And have you done any research on that team? What do we think?
Yeah, I am. I'm currently interning for AM New York, Schnaps Media. It's like they're the third most circulated newspaper in the city behind the New York Times and New York Post. So it's a pretty pretty big company. And yeah, I have been covering New York City throughout their entire preseason. They recently wrapped up the Coachella Valley Invitational, and they have a new coach in Pascal Jensen, and he's implementing a new style of play and I was able to ask him a question during the press conference. He talked about a bulletproof mindset. So they're going in, thinking that they can, beat anyone and everyone in any stadium. So they're going to be coming in on Saturday, looking to win, period. And they're going to play a really direct type of soccer, which I already know that's going to cause Miami some trouble with the high line that they're playing. They have really quick players on the wings with Alonso Martinez, Hannes Wolf, Julian Fernandez, Munsef Bakrar. That's their attacking core. Of course, Maxi Morales, who's going to be, that's their Argentine number 10, who's still really good at 37 years old, even with a previous ACL injury. Yeah, they're going to play super direct, super quick, super physical. They could give Miami trouble, but at the end of the day, Miami, they have Messi, they have Suarez, they have Tadeo Allende, who looks to be a nifty player. So I think, well, New York could give Miami's backline some trouble with the pace and directness. I think with Gustari in goal, who's playing that sweeper keeper role, and Messi and Miami's attack, I think Miami will comfortably be able to win the game. But City, they're gonna put up a good fight and a good game, and I think it's an interesting matchup for Miami to start the season with.
Yeah, the key seems to be for every team just counterattack. I mean, because we push up so far, and our defense in the past, some of it has been that we're slow, and other times it's just like, look, it's tactics. We push up so far, all you got to really do is counterattack. Tony Axe is saying, and I didn't look this up, so I don't know. They have a terrible record against New York City FC. So, not sure what that record is, but this is our home opener, so it's a must win for this game. I mean, you're doing kind of, I guess you would be doing like double duty. I mean, you're still covering Inter Miami because you're from down here and all that stuff, but you're gonna have to write for New York City FC there.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting though. I get to get the opposite end of Miami's opponents pretty thoroughly, so I could give you a more well-rounded coverage for both sides, and it's gonna be an interesting game. But it's my internship's been a lot of fun so far, lots of cool stuff. So I'm not abandoning Inter Miami. There is just some conflict of interest in terms of writing for. My internship and doing this, but at the end of the day, I'm still tweeting about Inter Miami, and
and if you want to be a reporter, you can't cheer. You can't be like me and Ed.
Yeah,
we're homers through and through, and so you can't. That's why at times it's like we could apply for credentials and all that stuff. I don't want to do that. I've done it before. I don't want to do that. I want to be a fan. I want to yell. I want to scream. I don't want to be professional. I want to be an idiot, and it's more fun. But if you're going to be a pro and make this your career, which you are doing, it's not that hard. You gotta sit there and be quiet, and so you're not cheering anyway. So and on your Twitter, you're not necessarily pulling for anything. You're just stating what's going on. So that's I don't know why Bruno says this, but I thought it was funny. I'll work for you, Pete. Okay. Do you do graphic design, Bruno? Do you live in Colombia, Bruno? If you live in Colombia and you do graphic design, I could hire you. Otherwise, no. What were you saying, Alex? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will say it is refreshing to, it's been a lot of Inter Miami so far in my reporting career. So doing, the NYCFC Red Bull stuff, it is quite refreshing to, chillax a bit. The Inter Miami press thing can be really, a lot of people are trying to get credentials, but with NYCFC, it's quite chill, and they're really accommodating and open to a lot of stuff. So it's just a cool switch. But of course, being from Miami and covering the team, I don't cheer for them, but it's you're from here and you cover the team. So
secretly you cheer for them. Come on, just secretly. Just nobody's listening. Nobody's listening.
Yeah.
Tony Axe feels that says, I'm not confident about a win against New York City. We'll have to rest players for the second leg of Champions Cup as well. So didn't think about that yet. We're thinking that, I'm thinking that, Messi and Suarez and Alba and all those people have to play for our home opener. But really, more important is the Champions Cup, because you can make up whatever losses we have in the beginning of the year. You can make up for it later in the season for the MLS Cup, but the priority has to be the Champions Cup. So it's possible that we could rest players, right?
Yeah, I think the weather on Tuesday is gonna be super cold. I don't know. I think it's up to Mascherano. I really don't know. This is the first time where I'm like, he could go full strength on Tuesday, but, MLS opener on Saturday. It's like they put this game at the weirdest time for Miami. Yeah. I understand wanting Inter Miami to open up the MLS season as like the first team, but it's not doing the team any favors. You got to protect the players, but, it's 4 days between, Tuesday and Saturday. That's not Like who's that helping? Like anyway, I don't know what Mascherano's going to do, but there will be some rotation. And
yeah, and if Messi doesn't want to play in the snow, he could play in the 85-degree heat here.
Right.
So
I'd rather he do that because we should. I'd rather he rest the game against Kansas City in the cold, come over here and play 2 days in South Florida. I'd go with that.
I don't know though,
Right.
because I prioritize in the Champions Cup. I don't want to be in a situation where we have to win at home. I want to have already won, and I want my best players on the field. Alex, you mentioned that we might be able to beat them without our best players, but I feel more confident if we have our best players on the field. So and I know it's cold and it's hard and it's like ice, and they just put some ice skates on Messi and let him do some figure eights out there and he'll be fine. But I'd rather put my best players out on the Champions Cup games and rest them for the MLS Cup beginning of the season, personally.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Well, first, like the Club World Cup, I think Inter Miami fans need to be realistic.
They gotta chill out on that. We're not winning.
Yeah,
that.
no MLS team is gonna realistically.
We're not winning that.
In that, no, they're not winning. They're not even. I don't know. Maybe they can make a deep run. I don't know. But like, no MLS team is equipped to do that because of the roster rules. Like Seattle's also in it this year, and I don't think they're going to make a significant impact either. It's not like me trying to be shady. It's just the reality of the league. Miami and Seattle don't have the cap space to be able to construct a roster deep enough to be able to rotate and play, tournaments like that. So the Club World Cup gone. Champions Cup, I think if they get if they can win and get to the quarterfinal, I think they're only playing MLS teams up until if they get to the semifinal, and then even then, that's if Monterrey, I think, get to the semifinal. So if they play their cards right, they're going to be playing a couple MLS teams. I think one Cavalier, which I forget which country that they're from. I'll double check, but yeah, it's MLS teams, like Central South Caribbean teams, and they don't really get to Mexican teams until the semifinal if they make it. So Champions Cup, if they get a good draw, that's definitely a possibility. MLS Cup is the big one, which you want.
Sure.
Them to obviously go out and win. But yeah, it's Champions Cup, MLS Cup. Those are the two main ones. Leagues Cup, if they get a good draw on that, I guess get to the final again. But they already won it.
Everybody hates that cup anyways.
It was fun in 2023.
Yeah, it's the fact that the way the league has prioritized that over the U.S. Open Cup is really soured a lot of people. So, hey, different topic, but as you were talking about the MLS constraints, I don't know how much of outside of MLS you really pay attention to, but you had to have noticed the fact that USL is planning on creating a Division I league. They would not have those limitations that that MLS has. I'm curious. I mean, have you any thoughts on USL trying to their hand at Division I, trying to compete against MLS?
Yeah, I think it's cool if they're able to do it, and if they're able to do USL, then USL Championship, then USL League One. I think it'll be really good. I don't know. I'd like to see Miami FC climb the ladder and do all the business. Oh, I think they're moving to Homestead too with the new stadium thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Let's see how that goes. I think it'll be cool if they can do it correctly, but I think they need to have at least 10 teams with 12,000 seat stadiums, and I don't think they meet that requirement quite yet. So,
I wouldn't count. I wouldn't count on Miami FC being in that. I just don't see that's dumb to try to compete against Inter Miami in the same city. Miami FC did try to relocate to West Palm Beach. Not a lot of people know that. But they tried to relocate to West Palm Beach, but there's a polo player that already owns the rights to the West Palm Beach area, even though he hasn't done anything with it. But he still owns the rights. So that's why they looked towards Homestead. Now, had they moved to West Palm, that might be far enough away from Miami. It's not far enough away from Fort Lauderdale, but it might be far enough away from Miami to have some modicum of success. But I find this, Ed and I being former USL fans, because that's where the only team we had, I find it super exciting, but I also find it like, since when has USL ever put out a really great product? Because MLS, it's more than just the players on the field. They put out a more polished product. When you look at it on TV, when you look at everything, the branding, everything, it's more a polished product. And USL doesn't do that. And you could just look at the example of USL Super League versus the NWSL. That is Division One. USL Super League is Division One, just like the NWSL, but the NWSL packages itself much shinier and better than, say, USL. So I would have definite concerns that USL may create Division One, but are they ever really going to be a real challenge to MLS, which is what they're looking to do? But I find that super, super interesting. And at the end of the day, it's good for soccer, right?
Yeah, I think the more leagues there are, the better it is. Especially in the states, you want every state to have like a local team and to build that culture on that. So I think it's only a good thing.
Yeah, and they want to incorporate promotion relegation. I mean, that's not what they're going to open with, But and then the other thing when you start talking about promotion relegation is you've got the professional standard, whatever it's called, the PSL, where all the rules and guidelines that Division One has to have. A Division Two team currently in the USL Championship cannot meet those standards. So how do you promote with the PSL in place? So super, super interesting, and see how all that shakes up throughout over time. But I find it super interesting to see if they could find deep enough pocketed owners to actually throw money at it the way MLS owners have done. So because they're all going to be private individual clubs, they can do whatever the heck they want. There is no single entity ownership. So if you have a Jorge Mas, for example, that type of owner that owns a USL team, man, sky's the limit. It could be interesting.
For sure.
All right. Well, Ed, what are your thoughts?
Well,
as we get closer to the season.
Yeah, I think at this point, we got to see what Mascherano has up his sleeve. Hopefully, he'll do the right thing. Hopefully, he'll meet the standards that you require, Peter Brown, those high standards, and we'll get some a win again in Kansas City in that cold, and again a win in the first game against New York City. So let's see how that goes. Alex, could you tell us where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at on Twitter at AAW_1998. That's I did have Blue Sky, but I don't like using multiple apps. I'm not that old, but I like to streamline my stuff.
Old soul.
So yeah, I'm on. Yeah, just on Twitter at AAW_1998. Most of my stuff is on there. I link it constantly, and my Substack's there. My internship coverage is there if you're interested in reading about New York sports, I guess. Everything it's there on my Twitter.
All right, it's on your screen for anybody that's watching. So follow. Like I said, Alex is a great follow. Always doing the research that we're too lazy to do. So and anytime we now play a New York team, we know that we can follow Alex to get the skinny on those teams. So either it be a New York City FC or Red Bull. So that's great as well. So we can use you, and that is great. So hey, thanks a lot, Alex, for joining us. This was a lot of fun. The people in the chat seem to be enjoying it. Everybody it loves hearing from you. So thanks for spending some time with us today, and good luck in the internship and everything that you're working towards.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. A lot of fun chatting and answering the questions, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's always good having. Hey, look, when we have a guest like yourself that's super knowledgeable, it makes it easy. So it's always fun. At the end of the day, we just like to think of this as kind of like just sitting around the table, just drinking a beer or whatever, talking about your favorite sport. And so you just have a little more knowledge, and so that's awesome and fun. So. People giving me a hard time in the chat. I feel so embarrassed for that. But all right, thanks everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. If the show ends, because my thing is really slow now. Yeah, here, let's just do this.